Hello and welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Branson Quirke.
I'm Stephanie Williams.
And we are here again. We were here last week with you guys. We had an amazing time together. I wanted to have Steph back on because once again, this is probably the busiest week we've had in a very long time here. The Diddy trial is possibly coming to an end today, maybe tomorrow. Any day now. Any moment. So the news desk, which Charlie Neff is a strong part of, senior producer, she is super busy. So we got a story yesterday that it's caused a lot of controversy, a lot of discussion online. We're going to start with this one. Bryan Kohberger, he is accepting a plea deal for 4 counts of first-degree murder to now remove the death penalty from that will be recommended in terms of the prosecution in his sentencing. And the family of at least one of the victims is not happy. So we'll talk about that. And our next story will be about, did you watch The Golden Bachelor?
I did.
I didn't watch it.
It was great.
It was great?
Yeah, I think it's like such a great concept, truly.
I'm an OG Bachelor fan, so I've really never gone beyond Bachelor or Bachelorette. So I'll have to catch this next one. But the guy who's going to be the next one, Mel Owens, he's catching some heat from a lot of people over his preferences, his desires to have a small age window.
Right.
For the women.
For not being more open to love in terms of age.
And the original Golden Bachelor is clapping back at him. Mm-hmm. So we'll play it for you. It's really interesting. But to begin with, this came out of left field yesterday. I did not expect this.
Yeah, it was a shock to the entire newsroom. Everyone was, what the heck is going on? The fact that this happened in terms of I don't know. I'll let you figure it out.
And just to remind you guys, we are live, so leave your comments how you feel about this plea deal that's going down, as well as the Golden Bachelor, or how you feel about Steph, how you feel about me. We'll be gone soon. The Charlies will be back.
They will be back.
They will be back. Do not worry. But to begin with, Bryan Kohberger, he accepted a plea deal for 4 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors will now remove the death penalty from consideration and recommend life without parole. And now this has upset at least one of the families, and it all comes down to the fact of how soon they found out about it. You mentioned it before.
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about the families and their opinion on this, but especially Kaylee's family. They wrote on their Facebook page, I would like to clarify a couple things. We did talk to the prosecution on Friday about the possibility of a plea deal, and it was a hard no from our family. They also touched on the fact that Bryan Kohberger having a full life in prison is not in comparison to the fact that their loved ones now lives are done. Like, that's more of the topic at hand right now, is the fact that Bryan gets to live a life that they definitely don't want. Like, they want justice, and they don't feel like they got that at all.
I mean, just based off, I was reading up about how it all went down, the details of the case this morning, because it's been 2 years now.
Right.
It was 2022 when this happened, and this is horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, to go into someone's home while they're sleeping and do this, I would say absolutely deserves the death penalty, more than deserves the death penalty. In my opinion, deserves maybe the same death. I always say that. An eye for an eye, I think deserves the same type of punishment. They did tell TMZ, this is an exclusive story, so they did tell TMZ the Goncalves family, Kaylee Goncalves, she was one of the 4 victims. Her family told us the death penalty is merely an illusion in the criminal justice system. When available, it serves as a bargaining tool for the state, and when rarely applied, it's never enforced due to a highly inefficient appellate process. They continued on saying the notion that someone can plead guilty to a crime and still face years of delays reveals a systemic failure. I don't know if I'm saying this right, the Latah County Prosecutor's Office treatment of our family during this process is something I wouldn't wish on anybody.
Aubrey, Kaylee's sister, has been super vocal on social media. Just that she's 18, she's now going into college, so she really feels strongly about her sister. And she was also talking about the fact that the justice system was like to serve and protect, not to traumatize grieving families. Like they want to heal, they want to, get justice, and this definitely didn't do that. For their perspective.
What's interesting is that there was a lot of comments about this yesterday saying that this was a good thing on our TMZ post from people saying that this now allows the families to get closure, move on, don't have to relive that night, relive all the horrific details of their deaths. But now it sounds like it's completely the opposite, at least for one of the victims' families. They did question multiple early decisions in the investigation, saying, why did the mayor make public comments about the case? Why does the coroner communicate directly with the families? Why did an inexperienced officer under 2 years of experience lead the case? And they also mentioned why the University of Ohio was involved despite labeling it an off-campus isolated incident, and why could the university publish a book while others were silenced under a broad gag order to not speak about the case. So all these concerns led them to being labeled as adversaries. They accused the prosecutor's office of mishandling the plea deal, claiming they were vaguely informed about a possible plea deal on just this past Friday, and the deal was finalized and presented by Sunday without family input. That's the main thing here.
Right. And like, it's interesting too, if you compare it to like any other case where you go to trial, like the Diddy case, for example, like, is it more traumatizing to go through the entire trial and what happened, or is it more so they can close the chapter? And really, it depends on the family, it depends on the situation. For them,
Right.
It just doesn't feel like they got justice.
Well, I'd like to ask you your opinion on this. The death penalty is a widely controversial topic. How you feel about it is definitely a massive debate. But in my opinion, I feel that if you are willing to do this type of crime, then I think it's absolutely necessary and deserving that that person, also the person that committed the crime, experiences everything that they committed during the trial.
I'm going to say something kind of controversial in the sense of like everything else in life. Sure, eye for an eye, you know what I mean? Get your whatever. But in terms of like their lives are different in prison based off of, so I've heard, I haven't been, but like I think for the families, for this situation, they want Bryan Kohberger to suffer as much as possible. And I don't know. That's what I mean when it comes to how his life will be in prison is what the family cares about.
Of course.
So what would you like want? It depends on like the situation.
Right.
It's even every single family member per person. I feel like their answers could be different.
I totally agree. And I mean, just this is totally personal opinion. I wanted to ask you how you feel about
I don't know. It depends on
depends on the case.
It depends on the case. Like if I'm the Idaho murders family, then maybe I agree with the family. But if it's like a Diddy case, like it's different.
Right. I mean, everybody has their opinion on this. For me personally, I feel that the death penalty is, I always have felt in my life that we cannot decide someone's fate in essentially just killing somebody. I don't think that it's our decision to make. I grew up Christian. I am a Christian. I believe that.
But did they decide their fate by committing their crime?
No, I mean, exactly. There are people out there that grew up in the same background as me that believe that there are warrants for this type of thing.
Yeah.
That it's just to give this type of punishment, the death penalty.
I also think is more about the fact, like when you're on death penalty, like your life, you don't just go right away. Like
it takes a long time.
You're living a whole different life in prison leading up to that. And that's what I think the families are talking about in these statements on their Facebook page is like how they feel about his life.
They feel they weren't given a decision. They feel like they weren't given input. They had nothing.
What is his life like before you know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, just to wrap this up, I will say this is one creepy ass dude. Have you seen the photo of this guy?
It blows my mind. I watch every single video about this on TikTok, on Netflix, whatever, and I still don't know how it happened.
I know, and there will be a Netflix documentary eventually. Yeah. This guy, again, the minute I saw the body cam footage of him getting pulled over, his demeanor, everything, just this whole thing, like. I to wrap this up, I want to see some compassion from this guy in the end here. I'm curious if there's going to be any type of compassion in a statement. I know that the families have to arrive. I believe it's July 2nd. They have to be at the courthouse for this plea deal, which is tomorrow. Today's July 1st.
I was hoping to see some of his demeanor as well. Like
if they
went to trial, but
this scary goth looking guy. I don't know. I'm sickened by this man. On a lighter note,
Yeah.
The Golden Bachelor, you said you watched this.
Yes. So I'm a big Bachelor fan, but at the same time, when it comes to the Golden Bachelor, I do want to say, age, we need to. I'm on Gerry's side with this one.
I am too.
Okay.
I am on the side.
cool.
I usually like to argue with you, but I'm on your side today. Oh, wait, you're on Gerry's side.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I am on Mel
Okay, let's
Owens'
hear it.
side
I knew
here.
we were.
Okay.
I was surprised that you were agreeing.
Okay, so to give you guys some context, Mel Owens is the new future Golden Bachelor, and he has some preferences, and he made these preferences very vocal, and we have the audio of these preferences. Here it is.
Did you get a chance to have bios of the women, know their names? Like, I don't know how much you knew going in, or was it a blind date?
It's blind up until they get out of the limo.
Okay.
But they ask me, like, what's your preferences? So I just said 45 to 60. just being honest, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then the process went and I was selected, right? And then we had lunch with the executive producer. I said, if they're 60 or over, I'm cutting them. Oh, Mel, you can't. This is not the Silver Bachelor. This is the Golden Bachelor. He goes, but they're going to be hot. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so and he goes, you can't use the word cut. I go, well, that's an NFL term,
Yeah.
And so I don't know anything about him, right? But I know, I was telling him, I go, you guys are the ones that are vetting. You're the ones that are picking. And I know they're going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I know they are. But I had no say in them. I have no resume. But they asked me, what is my profile? Well, they got to be fit because I'm stay in shape and work out and stuff. And I told them, try to stay away from the artificial hips and the wigs,
Wow.
It feels like a conversation we shouldn't be hearing, doesn't it?
I disagree.
Okay.
Because everybody has their preferences. But
Yes.
before we get into the conversation about this,
All right,
Steph, I know you have opinions on this. We're probably at odds over this. But Gerry, is it Gerry or Gary?
I think it's Gerry.
Gerry. Okay, so Gerry Turner, the former Golden Bachelor, the original Golden Bachelor, he is now criticizing Mel over these comments, telling TMZ that Mel's age restriction is a bad look, quote, bad look, and urges him to keep an open mind about dating women outside his preferred range of 45 to 60 years old. He reflects on his own experience with the show, revealing producers encouraged him to stay open to women both younger and older
For
than his original
context,
preference.
he's 72 and he picked someone that's 71. So he's saying
Sure.
to have an open mind because what if like the love of your life is just 1 year younger than you?
Right? I mean, Mel is 66.
Right?
Okay? So he wants his window to be between 45 and 60 years old.
What if the love of his life is 65?
But I mean, everybody has their preferences.
You're allowed
So-
to have preferences, but he's saying that's not his argument. His argument is keep it open because you're going on a show to find love in your later years. And why don't you have an open mind? Because I found my love at, that's what he's saying. He was 72, 71 bride.
Okay, but here's how I feel about it. Age is not really like, age is not looks. I mean, it is, but age is maybe more like a technical preference in a sense where he feels like when he gets to his older age, he wants them to be a little younger, maybe to take care of him when he gets senile.
There's not that difference between 5 years.
I mean, yes, there is. Between 80 and 70, 74, that's a pretty big difference.
I feel like there's not that big of a difference.
I think he's well within his rights to ask for his contestants be between 40
I mean,
and
if we
60.
really want to like, what's the difference between a woman who looks 60 to 65? There's no difference.
Okay.
You think so?
There's a massive difference. And this is
Okay.
actually one moment that in this audio, which we just listened to, he mentioned that he does not want any fake hips, no fake wigs and everything like that, which
From
maybe
60 to
happen between
65,
60
you
and
think you break
65.
your hips and you lose all your hair?
I lost my hair at 20 years old. And
But what I'm asking is I think what the argument here, we're talking about two different things. I think he's saying keep an open mind because he, Gerry, was 72 and found his bride. She's 71.
Is that his current bride that's 71?
Yes.
Who's the one that he picked and then they divorced?
Um,
From the show, right?
okay, but like that's not the
Exactly.
point. The point is he's saying keep an open mind because what if, his love of his life is like 1 year younger.
I don't think we're going to come to an agreement
We're not.
on this. Are you going to watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've applied to be on The Bachelor.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Really?
recently.
Are you still applying?
Yeah.
I fully support it. I would love to see you on there.
I don't know how I would do, but
what's your preference? What age?
what do you mean?
What's your age window?
I love like older. Like I would do 1 year younger than me or 2 years younger than me. But
So
that's
like
it.
39. I'm just kidding. No.
Oh my God, 39. No, I am 29 years old, but I would date someone that's like 28,
Yeah.
but nothing like I like older.
For
So
me,
you're allowed to have a preference.
20s. 20. If I was on their 20s, not 30s.
But like,
because-
can I say something? What if the love of your life, physically, the way they looked, and like personality, was like your perfect match, but she was 1 year older than you?
I'll
You
never
would
know
be
because
down.
I won't be open to the possibility.
You don't know. What if you meet her at
But
a bar?
I'll never, as long as I don't know, then I'm good.
So if you meet the girl at the bar, she's perfectly like
Ignorance
what you
is
look like.
bliss.
Okay, but she looks the way you want her to, and the personality. Would you date her, or would you be like, no, we're done, we can't?
It just depends.
See?
My girlfriend's watching right now, so I'm not going to make any comments.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So moving on to our comments. Sorry, we were just arguing.
Yeah, sorry.
We're never going to agree on this. But Bryan Kohberger comments, I said what I said, so I think he could have gotten death penalty because so much evidence. Of course, there was a mountain
Totally.
of evidence on him. That's why he did this. Yo, oh, mama, I had something similar happen to our family, and we didn't get a say in it, and they explained why we don't get a say, and it all made sense. I was upset, but I get it. Feelings aside. I'm really sorry about that. They had to go through that. Madeline said he should get life as he took 4 lives. I mean, yeah, he deserves to have his life taken away from him.
I live 90 miles from Moscow. Families of this tragedy live in my community. I'm going to let the families have their say in this.
Oh, wow. 90 miles from Moscow. I went to Moscow 4 or 5 years ago.
There's
Oh.
nothing wrong. Okay, Crystal
Yeah.
said there's nothing wrong
about the
with
Bachelor
having. Sorry, yeah. There's nothing wrong with having a personal preference in a romantic partner.
No, there's not.
Want to read that one? Do you want to read that one, Branson? This one?
No wonder he's still single. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think he's the golden bachelor. You know, he wants to flank it around. Miscellaneous comments. Roxy, hey guys, I feel happy to see your beautiful faces.
Thanks, Roxy.
That's new. Usually it's like something terrible. So, okay.
Brenda said, I'm 62 and I feel like I look pretty good. I would have no interest in dating Mel. Yuck. Honestly,
Well,
with
you
the way
don't
he
have to.
talks, like I agree. Like his personality sucks.
Yeah,
It
just
seems.
based on it,
Sorry.
there's going to be a lot of drama this season.
Maybe he's a great guy. I'll actually let you know if Mel seems like a great guy.
I will watch.
Okay.
All right, well, we got to get back to work. Again, the Diddy verdict may come today. We cover this every single day on all of our content here at TMZ, but we
Sure.
do have a podcast. I have to mention this. Behind the Bar, it is live at 2:30 Pacific time with our lawyers here at TMZ, Jason and Derek.
This is the podcast that you listen to if you want to know every factual thing about everything. They
Right.
know their stuff.
They know their stuff, and they will explain every little detail as to what's going on. Again, that's live on YouTube later today. If there's a verdict, we'll be on. If there's not, we'll also be on. So thanks, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
Have a good one. See you guys.